Welcome back everyone to another video. Today we're going to do a little bit of a meta review because new cards were released last week in a kind of mini set, although they call it class sets now, and we're going to have a look what actually changed with that. So first of all, what was the meta like before? So this is the Vicious Syndicate meta report from the end of April. Well, actually quite old, but it's not that inaccurate. At the time, before the class set hit, this was actually still pretty much the same. And we see here for top 1000 legend, which is what I'm looking at here, not because I think most people are there, but because that is usually what sets the meta and then slowly moves down the ranks. To, yeah, I don't know, gold or something. Like, probably it's not going to reach bronze, but this is kind of what sets the meta for the other ranks as well, which just lag a little bit behind because people play less on other ranks as well. And what we see here is what we had for weeks or a very long time is the strength of the deck is on the x-axis here, so the strongest would be Dragon Warrior, and the frequency how often it's played is on the y-axis, so the most commonly played would be Herald Rogue, but that's not that strong. And like the three decks which like were played a lot and were actually really good as well were like Dragon Warrior, Spell Demon Hunter, and Miritra Druid. And then the class sets released, and the question is, of course, what has changed? Now, Vicious Syndicate hasn't actually brought out a new meta report, so we can't compare with their meta report, but we can have a look at HS Replay. First thing we notice on HS Replay, I again filtered to top 1000 here, is the same kind of decks at the top here: Spell Demon Hunter, Dragon Warrior. There is also now Aggro Druid, which was there before as well, but maybe not as popular. Quest Mage, and so it looks like not a whole lot has changed here. Most of these are still the same decks. There's one small change, which is if we look at the meta tab here in the popularity, and that is this Companion Hunter. This now makes 12.9% of decks played at Legend. But if we look at the matchups, it's actually pretty poor. So it's new, that's why it's getting played a lot. But the first 8 decks, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 decks, it has a negative matchup against below 50%. And only Quest Priest here is the first deck where it has a positive matchup. So I assume this will actually get less and less popular. I don't think this win rate is salvageable by better play, because it's not that difficult a deck to play, if we are being honest. So sometimes like decks have a really bad win rate when they come out because they are actually quite complicated to figure out. I doubt this is going to be the case with Companion Hunter. And then we see the standard ones being on top here. As I said, Spell Demon Hunter, Dragon Warrior, Herald Rogue, like if we order by legend here. We have like the same kind of popularities here. And also in the strengths, not a whole lot has changed. I guess Dragon Warrior has lost a few percentages because it has a worse matchup against Spell Demon Hunter, which is now more popular. And stuff like that. Aggro Druid, I think, has gained a few percentage points. Miritra Druid has lost a few percentage points. It's difficult to say, but yeah, overall I would say probably this hasn't changed too much, with the exception of Companion Hunter, which I think will fall out slowly out of the meta. I don't think it's gonna stick there, especially not in High Legend. In lower ranks maybe, because it's a pretty simple playstyle with like reasonably fast games usually. So there I could see it being played a bit more, but at High Legend I think this will decline. So let's play a few of the popular decks. I've taken 4 of the most popular decks here, which is Spell Demon Hunter, Aggro Druid, Dragon Warrior, and Animal Companion Hunter, and let's see how they match up. Okay, we're gonna first have a look at the most popular deck, which is this Animal Companion Hunter. And this deck usually wins in like 3 steps. You get your early game tempo out, like you make early game tempo with like your 1-drops, which are mainly the Raptor Nest, where's the Cinder. Then you use that tempo to buff your animal companions, and then you like play a lot of huge beasts. So it has 3 steps. If you fail at any of the 3 steps, that's kind of bad news and usually means you lose, and that's also the reason why I think this deck is actually not very good, or not performing as good as you might expect it to. But we do have early game here. It's quite common to have early game with this deck because it's running a lot of one-cost cards. I'm assuming we're against the quest. No, we're not against the quest mage here. Might be something very rare then, like a leyline mage. I wouldn't mind playing that next turn, so I think I'll start with this. I want that. No, I think I'll have this one. I might play that next turn already. I could potentially clear it if I do. No, I think I should go for all the 1-drops then. Getting one more turn of 1s in this is probably quite good.
The Brothers Storm Rage.
Okay, this could also be Burn Mage then, I guess. I think I want to play that, and then I go for this. Why did this die? Or was that the new one that was played from this? This is a lot of damage actually. I can now use this to summon the taunts, so in my experience the 4-drop beasts are usually not that good. The 5-drop beasts, they are there's usually one which is decent. In this case we got the Grizzly, which is I think very good. I think I choose it here. I mean, I could go for this instead, but I think this is fine. Play that.
Come to me, friends.
I probably want to clear at least one of those. Doesn't want to let me do that apparently. Oh, come on. Those were the worst possible hits this could have been. I'm fine waiting a little bit here. Yeah, so here's like Burn Mage. don't think that's bad for us. We have 7 here. I guess just double animal companion should be fine.
Nature embraces us.
So that's kind of how this deck plays out. In this case, we did have the tempo for the turn 1, or for the early game. And we also had the animal companions. We didn't really have the buffs. We were kind of lucky that we didn't need them. 7, I think I look here first, right? Oh, I didn't need it. So we were lacking the buffs. We were quite lucky that we played against the Burn Mage, which was pretty weak early and middle game. Otherwise, I think we lose that game if we are against a little bit more of an optimized play or luckier draw. But that's how this deck usually plays out. As I said, you play your early game tempo, try to get ahead, then try to buff your animal companions. We didn't really do that, we only got 2 buffs, and then summon them. Okay, the second deck we're gonna have a look at is this Spell Demon Hunter or No-minion Demon Hunter. The idea is that the Eternal Hold is really strong if you have no minions in your deck. Like you basically get one of these huge minions for free. For example, an Inquisitor for 0 mana or Priestess. You can get some here, you can get armor. There's a lot of good options here. On top of that, you also have like this Legacy. Some decks also play the Discover 3 mana spell. And you have decent overall cards with these sigils and like Grim Harvest. Like overall, Demon Hunter cards are quite good. So you can win without the Eternal Hold. Obviously, you want this card and you want these sigils at the start. I'm picking a game against Rogue here because that's the one special matchup, or the most special matchup for Spell Demon Hunter, because they shuffle a minion into your deck. So you really have to be aware that when you play the Eternal Hold or the Lasting Legacy, you have a minion in your deck at the start. I mean, you might draw it at some point, but at the start you have this minion in your deck, and yeah, you have to be aware of that. Okay, I don't like this mana-wise. Usually the sigil is really strong, but I want to deal with this, but then I have nothing for next turn. I think it's still the play over this. We can trade here, I don't mind too much. That's the best start for Herald Rogue. I can use this, I guess. I was looking first for the glaive, so that's why I played the harvest first, because that usually always gets played, the harvest in that turn. And that's super annoying. What was he complaining about? I think it has to be this. I could have killed that, I guess. My logic was he killed him to himself, but maybe that's wrong. I gave him more options there than I needed to. So unfortunately what we see here is we don't have the Eternal Hold. And because we don't have the Eternal Hold, we are not really winning here, but can always happen. We do have this, which is very strong.
Care to make a wager, Frank?
Probably want to kill that off. Still nothing concerning the King Lane or the Eternal Hold. So I think we have to clear this. That was super strong. Was it from this? No, it was from Sinestro, right? You do have a lot of damage from hand. Like, this is basically all damage. 15, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24. This thing has to die, though. What else do I want to do here? Do I want to use this? I guess. At some point I need to start going phase here. Probably next turn. I can't really do that though, because I have no target for this. So that is another card which doesn't work with what I mentioned earlier. 14, do I think he has 13 damage? No, right? Not without King Lane. Okay.
The true masters
So this showcases why this deck is like so strong, because even though we didn't have the no-minion kind of thing here, we can just go and kill him. We actually have like 2 more damage here. So it's actually okay in the matchup against Herald Rogue, even though they shuffle a minion into your deck, which goes to show how strong the deck actually is. Okay, let's have a look at our third deck here, which is Aggro Druid. We're playing actually against another Druid, but it's not guaranteed to be aggro as well. Like, the biggest mistake I see people doing with Aggro Druid is just going face. The point of Aggro Druid is that it's a board-centered aggro deck, meaning you need some form of board, and like if your opponent can just clear your board every single turn, it doesn't really work very well. I'm gonna keep here like 1-drop minions basically, or like stuff that gets me stuff on board, and some ramp and stuff like that. And innovate. I usually always keep innovate if I'm playing. Okay, it's probably a mirror matchup then.
I need more mana.
Gonna coin this out because I might want to go for this next turn and then I can double trade here. Depends a little bit what I draw as well though. Could also kill this now. I'm waiting a turn. I mean, it's greedy, but I think it's correct. Oh, he actually uses this. Okay. That's actually pretty smart because I'm gonna go for this. I might wanna keep the innovate now for the Wicker Fang here as well. That seems like a very strong turn 6. That's frustrating. Okay. I think I'm fine summoning these. Having one out's minions against Aggro Druid is quite good because I usually don't have that much flexibility to do anything against this. And a 4-4 trading into a 3-1 I don't mind. It's perfectly fine for me. So next turn we trade, then we play Wicker Fang and then we win. I think that's actually pretty much not avoidable for him anymore. I could do stuff like this, but I think this is just... I think this is basically a guaranteed win. I mean, it's one less than it could be. But yeah, exactly. So there we saw the power of having like the stronger early tempo. He was just never able to catch up. Okay, our final deck that I want to highlight here is the Dragon Warrior. This is still extremely strong. It's been around the longest, I guess, in like the top tiers of decks. Spell Demon Hunter is also there for quite some time, but yeah. This has been very strong for quite some time, basically ever since the Lizard Ray came out. And we're against Demon Hunter here. Usually what this deck is trying to do is also kind of like a board-centric aggro deck, but a little bit slower than the Druid deck, but harder to remove, especially the Lizard Rake, etc. are good power plays. Usually you want to keep the Broodkeeper. I'm actually not sure against Spell Demon Hunter particularly, because they usually don't play any minions that early. So you can probably mulligan it against Spell Demon Hunter, but especially against aggro decks you really want the Broodkeeper, and other than that you want the Dark Rider, and against slow decks or control decks you can keep a Lizard Rake. And one thing to really think about with this deck or keep in mind is that the Stadium Announcer removes the quest reward from Quest Mage. So this doesn't guarantee you a win, because usually the Quest Mage just holds their quest reward and then plays it in a turn where they can also use it. I really don't like this card, by the way. But it's very strong against Quest Mage, so you probably want to keep it in your opening hand. Well, I always keep it against Quest Mage, or Mage in general, because it's usually Quest Mage. Okay, he just doesn't really do very much here. I could go for damage here. Is there a chance I kill him in 2 turns? Probably not, right? 7, 9, 11... plus 13... Seems unlikely, although I do have the torch. I guess it's actually not bad, because I can torch this away. His AoEs do 2 damage, so I should have actually buffed this one. Okay, that clears most of my board, unfortunately, but okay. Happens. Should start with this. Oh, come on. What the hell? I think I actually need to start using these. I'm kind of running out of cards here, which is very unfortunate. It can happen with this deck, but can also not happen. That's very good. I should have maybe hit this first. I definitely shouldn't have used both. If he has it here, yeah, he does. That's probably game over. But Spell Demon Hunter with this card is anyway very tough to beat.
Was that right?
So he is questioning the correctness of this play because he didn't look at the demon first that he got there. Great, they're all bad. I guess I can use this. The fact that we are not completely lost here is pretty crazy. Okay, that will give him something to deal with A2, really certainly. No? Well, that also works. If I had taken the charge here...
What separates dreams from madness?
Should give me random dragons. If he misses on this, we might be okay. There's a lot of minions in this, which he can miss. So that's another thing about this warrior deck. It actually can have some form of late game. It's usually more of a mid-range kind of deck, or more aggressive, but in this case we actually do have some form of late game. Nah. Well, that's not gonna be good enough. I don't think I need armor.
No fate.
I should have played one last minion though for this. Because it summons something, right? Oh, he didn't make that as he wanted.
Stalling for time.
Could have won this game, I'm pretty sure. Played a little too fast. This doesn't clear that, even if he gets 5 damage, whatever that is called. Actually, it doesn't even clear that.
Your life wouldn't sustain me. Time grows short.
He keeps living. On the plus side, he's out of cards now and his location is gone. I think I don't want to play that.
I just need a volunteer.
Well, that is really bad for him. Okay, that probably gives him something good enough, I imagine. There's a lot of card war associated with that, and the 2/1s. Even immunity might be good. Echoes would also be good. All of this is actually good. Well, he can't use I-beam in that, so that wouldn't be great.
Of their lives.
So he did have that. I was wondering whether that's a card he keeps because he doesn't want to go below 5, or because of the worm. Okay, but now I think I am actually ahead. If I draw a dragon at least, I do. Probably that, right?
Our time is now.
I let him have the spell damage. Oh, come on. That's the one card he could get where I shouldn't have let him keep the spell damage. Doesn't have a whole lot of cards left. Oh, okay, I guess I'm just dead.
Well played.
Okay, so now I showcased like the 4 of the most popular decks in this new meta. It's not that different from the old meta, but hopefully I could give you a little bit of an overview of how each of the deck plays. So let's quickly summarize. Animal Companion, Hunter, pretty strong endgame if you can get to it, but you need the early game tempo to get to the point where you can buff your animal companions in the mid game. Because if you don't have early game tempo, you will just die in the mid game while you try to buff your animal companions. And then in the end game, you also need to summon your animal companions. Spell Demon Hunter focused on the Eternal Hold. So this is the one card where you actually that you play around, and you kind of always keep the coin for this unless there's a very good reason not to. And yeah, you just want to get like 0 cost demons, which are very powerful from this. But as we saw, the deck can also hold its own without the Eternal Hold because the rest of the cards is good enough. We saw that twice. We saw it once on our own side. We saw it also with when we played the Dragon Warrior, but there it was. He did have the Eternal Hold, but it still showcased that this deck doesn't just fall over. Aggro Druid, pretty simple deck, but more board centric than a lot of beginner players think it is. So if you want to play this, don't just go face all the time, because you need the board to buff it. You have so many cards like Overheat, like the Hatchery Helper, and like Forest Gift, which require you to have minions on board. Dragon Warrior, um, kind of a mid-range deck with like pretty good tools, very aggressive tools. I mean by that as well, but pretty straightforward deck. You just want to play big minions and overwhelm your opponent in the mid game. There's of course other decks, as in every meta. There's like dozens of decks, maybe even hundreds, but those are 4 of the most common ones. Noticeably absent here is Herald Rogue, because if you're watching this video, I wouldn't recommend you play Herald Rogue. It is quite popular at higher legend, and it's also good if you play it correctly, but it's actually not that easy to play. So I wouldn't play that if you are interested in climbing. Also noticeably absent but quite good at the moment is Egg Warrior. That's just not very commonly played, but it's pretty decent. And then there's stuff like Herald, Shaman, and Quest Mage and stuff like that, which is reasonably popular, but also I wouldn't say top top of the list for this matter. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did so, please leave a like or subscribe. That helps me out a lot. And hopefully see you for the next one.